biker with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism. The dog days of summer are here. Is your yard in need of a touch-up as we head into the fall season? August, September, and October are the months for aeration, and Penner Sprinkler and Lawn is the place to call to get the job done right. If you're noticing any issues with your sprinkler system through the hot summer months, they're always a call away, and they're already scheduling installs for sprinkler systems for next year and all other lawn care needs. Call Penner Sprinkler and Lawn today at 402-413-1215.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides: shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
We're still as busy as we've ever been. Across the country, you may see a small slowdown, but in Lincoln, Nebraska, we're not slowing down.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
Our Southwest Lincoln development is just going great as we keep growing in Southwest Lincoln. Down the road, we'll have a new school, so that's exciting. We also have a new development out in East Lincoln over by Hillcrest Country Club. Just a real neat subdivision because it features trees, great views. If you're concerned about interest rates, many lenders in town offer extended lock periods. So it's worth contacting a lender and asking them about an extended lock. That's a big deal.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 40,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our community safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is "My job is people, everyone is my business." But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakovic, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, "Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket," and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Let's do it. Let's get away. Let's go outside, cast a line, and reel in good times with our family and friends. Get a little peace, quiet, and relaxation, and make some memories that will last a lifetime. Let's do it. Let's Fish Nebraska. Start planning your fishing trip today at letsfishnebraska.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is the Deep End with Nebraska diver Reagan Hinzig and Nebraska swimmer Madison Ronquillo on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into the deep end. I am here with Reagan Hinsey. I am Harrison Arns. We're going to be covering this hour together here all the way up until 9 o'clock. And then Reagan, heard you had a pretty interesting practice. You wanted to start with highs and lows now?
Highs and lows?
Yeah.
Okay. High. I turned 21 last Wednesday.
Oh, what was your, did you go out?
Yeah, we went to Dak Shack.
Oh, nice. That's a good start spot. What was the first drink?
Blue raspberry.
And that was the first ever drink you've ever had, right?
Yep.
Perfect. Blue raspberry?
Yeah.
With
And
vodka?
It was a daiquiri, so I don't know what's in a daiquiri. It just tasted really
I don't know
good.
either. Honestly, that's above my knowledge.
And then I sent a picture to my dad, and he was like, "Get a peach one for me." So I got a peach one for him. And then my stomach was hurting because daiquiris are really sweet.
Yeah, that's the thing about Dak. I usually just stick to like a beer and then a whiskey and Coke after.
Okay.
Because otherwise it just gets so full. Like I used to really like the twisted teas.
Yeah.
You get so sick off those after a while though, because like all that sugar.
Yeah, that night my friend came in town, and so she was staying on like an air mattress in my room. And I just had to keep getting up, and she's like, "What is going on?" And I was like, "Do you not hear my stomach right now? Like I do not feel good."
Just all sugar.
Yeah. And then the low for the week, I guess it was today. I kind of had a mental breakdown on the board. It happens. I was doing a dive on 1 meter, and it was going really well. And so it technically is like a lead up. So a lead up is like you do the dive on 1 meter, and if it's good enough, you go do what it's supposed to be on 3 meter too. So I was doing a front 2.5 tuck on 1 meter, and I was landing over on my back. And so my coach was like, "All right, take it up and do front 3.5 on 3 meter." And as soon as I started walking over to the 3 meter, like tears were like forming, and I was like, "Oh no!"
Because you've had some bad history with this dive, right?
Yeah, every time, like the first 3 times, I'm not even kidding, flat on my back, like tingles down my body because I landed right on my spine, so like the shock. And then every time since then, I've either landed exactly like that, or I've come out super early because I'm super scared to land on my back, so I do a belly flop off 3 meter.
So you just back flop your belly right now?
Yeah, so I was just like, okay, like huge mental block. But it's okay.
So did you get the dive off today? Or
No, not today. We're gonna do some more like prep for it.
It's probably good to be in the right mindset. Otherwise, you're just gonna drill in the same mistakes in your head.
Yeah.
So why is that dive so hard? Because you kind of throw those terms. I don't know all of them. What's that dive look like when you're trying to perform it?
A front 3.5 is like a triple somersault, and then you land on your head.
Okay, yeah. See, that's a lot to get in.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it before. I've done it on 3 meter, and I've done it a couple times on 10 meter.
At meets or just practice?
Just practice.
Okay.
And so like I know I can do it. It's just like I don't know. I guess like the last time I did it, the last one I did, I landed on my back or my stomach or like something. And I'm the kind of person where it's like if you do a bad dive, you have to do another one to get that out of your mind. That's the last memory of the dive. And so my last memory of the dive is me landing flat on my back. So it's just gonna take a while to like, because diving's at the end of the day, yeah, diving is physical, but like diving's hard, and it's it's so mental. So it's just me getting out of my head at the end of the day.
Yeah, that'd be so hard. I feel like for divers especially, because like you said, you know how to do it, so then not overthinking it after you failed.
Yeah.
Because like I'm sure when you get up there, you're just like, okay, I landed on my back, and then you're over rotating. Now you're on your belly.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to find that sweet spot.
Yeah, and I mean my middle name is Overthinker, so
yeah, good. The drive-through.
Yeah. So you can only imagine the amount of like, oh my gosh, what if scenarios, and none of them are good. So
you're gonna try to conquer that this week?
I don't know about this week. We don't have towers. So
why don't you have towers right now?
We don't have towers, period. Like we just have a 5 meter. We don't have we don't have a full set of towers.
Oh.
So for us to practice tower, we have to either go to University of Iowa or Missouri.
Okay.
So if
seems like something we should have. It might help.
It might. So the next time we go to Iowa, they actually have these things called water belts. So I've done them on. I think I've talked about belts on Tramp before.
Yeah, you showed me those.
Yeah.
That's where you got the roper in though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because that one just wasn't set up right? Or what
That
was-
one I just didn't do it right.
Okay. So what's the water belt?
It's the same thing,
Okay.
except for it's over the water. So it's like it kind of feels the same as tramp belts, and so it's like a crutch.
Does that feel restricting on it at all?
I don't know. I've never used them.
Well, the one I guess you didn't quite get it right.
On tramp. What do you mean?
Like if you wear that and then when you take it off, do you feel that immediately, or is it actually a pretty smooth device that when you take it off, it feels just the same?
I mean, obviously, everything's gonna feel a little differently, because basically in belts on trampoline, your coach is holding you up, so you're not falling.
Yeah.
And on the diving board, obviously, gravity has its
Yeah.
effect, so you are falling.
Mhm.
So it has a little bit of its difference, but for the most part, you can like feel where you are the same. So
That makes sense. So what's the rest of your week look like schedule wise?
well, last week my coach came to me and my teammate, and we were like, all right, season starts next week. So basically, season started today. So it's a lot of conditioning.
That's fun. I know conditioning is probably different for you. Is it just like crazy app workouts for your conditioning?
It's a lot of plyos.
A little fun.
And like agility and speed. So like we'll do speed flips on like a high jump mat. We'll have to do flips like back to back to back to back to back. And like we get like a minute break, and then we do like or we do what are called speed pike ups, which is like you're laying on your back and you come up, you touch your toes, and you slam back down, and you go up and down as fast as you can.
Oh man.
And you do it for 30 seconds.
That'd be
And
brutal.
by the end of the 30 seconds, you're like, I can't even touch my toes. And then it's like a lot of box jumps. We do hip thrusts. What else? Med ball slams, because that imitates a lot of the same motion.
I feel like it's
the
a lot of
throwing
just
motion.
getting your abs to aggressively snap.
Yeah.
And your legs too, I suppose.
Yeah. There was actually one time my freshman year when one of my teammates was like, Reagan, I see y'all doing abs all the time, because my freshman year we did 15 minutes of abs without stopping. Now we do 10.
No breaks?
No breaks.
Oh my god.
And it's like the kind of abs where you can't let your feet touch the ground.
You're probably rolling out with a 6-pack after that.
I don't know about that one, but she's like, I see you doing abs like all the time. Like, why do you need to do those so often? Like, why do you need abs? And I was like, diving is basically your core, because you have to hold yourself in line at the end of the board. You have to keep yourself balanced, which is your core. And then you have to, if you're doing a tuck or a pike, you have to use your core to get into that tuck or pike, which is like a ball or, so it's really a lot of core, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense though. Cause like you were saying, you got to get 3 rotations in off 3 meters.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of room.
No.
So you got to be aggressive.
Yeah.
I suppose that's why I get the mental block though. Cause you got to be just perfect on it, I'd imagine.
Well, I mean, there's always the anxiety that comes with like the first dive you do of that one. So like I was terrified today, but like if I had to do another dive like that I've never done before, it's like, what's the worst that can happen type thing. But then you're like, let's say you have a hurdle, which is like the walking approach that you see people do.
Yep.
In your head, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get this perfect hurdle to be able to complete this dive. And in reality, like that's not the case. So after you do that first one, you have all the adrenaline to keep practicing it. And eventually you'll get comfortable enough to be able to compete it, which is like the level of, you should be able to do this. Even if it's not the best hurdle, you should be able to feel confident in yourself that you know what you're doing and that your body will take over. So
it's just a lot of repetition, probably.
It's muscle memory. Yeah. That's basically our entire sport is just a bunch of repetition.
Yeah. Diving is one of those things that I'll just give credit to anyone that does it. Cause you watched in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like you can even see in the Olympics, there's such a difference on elite competitors and people who are just kind of new to it.
Yeah.
Because there's some countries that you can tell that diving's not their strong suit and it just looks like a disaster, even though that's the best of the country. And then you look at other teams like the United States, even China, teams like that. It's just a new level of precision. And
You
like
wanna-
the splash is nothing when those guys hit the water.
You want your mind to be blown?
Yeah, let's hear it.
United States isn't one of the, I wouldn't say isn't one of the top dogs in diving.
Really?
Yeah. I'd say China definitely.
Yeah.
Because China sweeps every single competition.
I was going to say, I feel like swimming and diving for China is pretty elite.
Diving, especially swimming, is where the United States is the powerhouse.
Yeah. I think that's probably why I assume we're top
Yeah.
diving too.
We're not bad by any means. I'd
Just
say we're
not
like
top dog.
I'd say we're like a little higher than the middle of the pack.
Okay, just slightly above average. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Why do you think that is in the US? Because we produce great swimmers.
We do. I don't know. I don't know. I've had conversations with my coach about this because I'm like,
Yeah.
I wonder what like the Chinese, I wonder what they're doing differently. And they're
Well, they got more numbers, that's for sure. A lot more people.
Well, at the Olympics in 2021, a 14-year-old won 10 meter from China.
Oh my God.
Like so you know how you're talking about like the no splash?
Yeah.
That's called a rip because it sounds like a piece of paper tearing.
It's probably good for a 14-year-old.
It's good because
Not a lot of weight hitting the water.
yeah, yeah. So like a lot of like the best of the best are super young.
Mhm.
And so like we had at Olympic trials, we had a 45-year-old woman competing 10 meter. And it's just like your body takes a toll. Like you're getting hit
Yeah.
by basically concrete at that point, spinning 32 miles an hour. And it's just your body takes a toll. And so like
Yeah.
I guess this sounds so bad, but like the fresher you are, like
No, that makes sense though. Because we were kind of talking about like, obviously I wasn't skilled, but even when I was younger too, I was way more confident in trying to pull off crazier dives
Yeah.
off the high dive.
Yeah.
So I also didn't have that mental block either.
Yeah.
So I was like way more, and I feel like when you're younger too, you can change habits way faster.
Yeah, you can kind of bounce back quicker.
Mhm. Yeah. So I guess that makes sense though, because China does. That's one thing they do. They kind of start kids on athletic paths early, I should say.
Yeah.
They're kind of like destined to be something pretty early on if they're good.
Yeah. I mean,
So who's like number 2, you would think? Or is it just kind of hodgepodge after that?
I don't know. Like it kind of just depends on the year. I
Mhm.
feel like Great Britain's up there.
Yep.
Just because Tom Daley and like just the way I don't know, I just love his diving. It's so pretty.
He's just elite.
It's so pretty. Like there's definitely a difference between like muscle divers and grace divers, and you like have to feel like a grace diver, or you have to look like a grace diver while feeling like a muscle diver, because it takes a lot,
Yeah.
but you have to make it look super easy. And
What
it's
would you say you are?
Oh, I'm definitely a muscle diver. Like you can tell I'm struggling on the dives that I think are hard. Like half the time you can hear me grunt off the board. But yeah, I'd say Great Britain's up there. A lot of Europeans, like the French, every once in a while, Italians, Australia's pretty good.
I guess I can see that, because that's just kind of over in that area. Europe's very tied, so if like one country is good, it's probably just pretty popular around
Yeah.
Europe in general.
Yeah, Germany's pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really hear about them a lot, but a lot of collegiate athletes are from South Africa, or a lot of collegiate divers.
I believe that. I know, especially obviously in the basketball world, South Africa's they're finally getting they always had the talent, but now they're finally getting the resources to polish that talent.
Yeah.
So now you're just getting guys that are just freaks of nature, just crazy athletic.
Yeah.
And that are just way better than everyone else.
I mean, in the finals, you'd probably get, obviously China, you'd get 2
Mhm.
Chinese, most likely 2 Great Britons, 1 or 2 Americans, 1 or 2 Canadians, 1 or 2 Mexicans.
Mm-hmm.
Like then it just like trickles down.
And it's just kind of whoever.
Yeah. So I mean, diving is so like, I don't know how to describe it. Like any day you could walk in and it could be anybody's game. Like anybody
Yeah.
could be off.
Well, just like the one bad dive, and
Yeah, one bad dive and you're done.
Yeah.
Like there was a girl that was doing, I think she was Canadian, on 3 meter in the semifinals, and she got 3rd in prelims, and she was doing it's a gainer 1.5 with 3.5 twists. So
Okay.
you're doing your hurdle, so you're doing your approach, and you flip
yeah, know
towards
what the
the board,
gainer is.
and then you do 3.5 twists,
Okay.
and then you
So
check
it's-
out and line up.
So it's the gainer with 3 twists in the middle of it.
Yeah, yeah. And especially on gainer twisters, if your feet are over the end of the board, you're screwed.
Really?
Like, because the first movement in a gainer twister is to pop your feet up.
Mhm.
And if your feet are falling off, it's so hard to pop your feet up.
That makes sense. You got to get on that board
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your momentum's already going down.
So she just fell off the board and failed to dive and didn't make finals.
Oh,
Even though she got third in prelims.
that's just brutal. Diving's one of those sports that is
anybody's
so
game.
harsh.
It's anybody's game. But
Man.
anyway, your high and low for the week.
Oh yeah. I'd say for the high, I got to go back home for a wedding, and everyone was there, like all my high school friends. I feel like as older you get too, it's really hard to get in a room with like your childhood friends.
Yeah.
Like even if the guys don't go to college, say they just go pick up a trade school, odds of them being in the same spot are slim to none.
Yeah.
So when you go back home, you maybe see a couple guys, whatever. But no, I got to see all my friends, got to see one of my better friends get married. That was super cool. Yeah, it was just a great weekend. I won't say his name. One of the guys was feeling it a little bit too much on the table, and he was one of the guests, and he was struggling. He had his like hands down like this. It looked like a ghost, and they're like giving the speeches, when they best man, whatnot.
Yeah.
And you could tell he's like, I need to get out of this seat so bad, but they're doing the speeches, and if I get up now, everyone's looking at this ghost walking by him.
Yeah.
So he was struggling, but he actually bounced back. He was back later in the night, feeling all right. But no, that was super fun. And then I'd say the low. It was a pretty good week. I didn't have too many lows, but my engine light came on again in my Jeep.
Oh no.
So, I don't know. It's happened before. I'm just gonna ride it out.
I think last week you were like, I got it fixed, but like, I'll give it a week.
Yeah, and sure enough, engine light came back on. I'm just at the point now where I give it the listen test, and I'll drive it. And I'm like, well,
If it sounds fine.
Sounds fine. It's driving fine. My oil's good. Unless you start flashing at me, I'm just gonna keep driving. So, yeah, my Jeep. I don't know. I'm just kind of over it. It usually throws me a negative every week, but it'll be all right.
As long as it sounds
yeah,
fine.
it's like the muffler shot, so it doesn't sound great.
Oh
but
boy.
that's like another thing. It's like, do I want to spend probably $200 on a muffler, then $300, maybe $400 on them to replace it and do all the labor? Because I'm not about to do that.
Yeah.
Because if I try to hook up the muffler and I don't do it right, and I'm just breathing exhaust inside my car, yeah, then I'd pass out while I'm driving. So,
is anything dragging on the ground?
Nothing's dragging.
Then you're good.
Yeah, I'm one of these days my muffler is gonna fall off though, and I'm just gonna. I tried to put some JB weld on it.
Yeah.
It was good for a day, and then it just started. I mean, it sounds like a jet taking off, like when you first fire it off, and I feel so bad. There's one time I was at a gas station, and there's a homeless guy sleeping like right in front of my Jeep, and I was like, oh man, I really don't want to start this in front of you. Yeah, and I revved it. Well, I didn't rev it, but it sounds like I revved it because I started it up, and he just jolted up. He just got absolutely panicked, scared him, and I was like, I'm sorry, my Jeep's just a piece of crap. But yeah, that was my low.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
What are your thoughts on Nebraska drivers?
I would like to say they're better than most, just
Okay.
because we have snow. So I think if you know how to drive in snow, that makes you quite a bit better than most. And we have fog. There's
Yeah.
dumb drivers everywhere, but I'd hope we're better than most. Why?
I don't know.
Seems like you're going to say something negative.
I was on the way to practice today, and I was on 27th.
Yep.
And so I was going like 45, and this person was like had his turn signal on, and I was like, okay, so you're turning. So I like pressed on the brake, and this person acted like they were at a stop sign. Like they came to a complete stop, stopped for like 3 Mississippis, and then turned. And so I had to like slam on my brakes at the last second because I was expecting to just like
keep going.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I walk into practice and I'm like, I hate Nebraska drivers. And my coach is like, why? What happened? And I was like, he was like, did you get in a wreck? And I was like, no, but almost. I almost T-boned somebody.
Yeah, that I always get mad, especially like you said, when there's green lights and cars are tapping their brakes while going through the green light. That drives me absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Why are you tapping on your brakes? It's a green light. Just go. Because one person does it, chain effect, tap, 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 tap.
Yeah.
And just, you already added a minute to that intersection because one idiot decided to tap their brakes on a green light.
Did you know here that like technically you're not supposed to drive through yellow lights here?
Well, I haven't been doing it right then.
Well, apparently, like in Texas, it's fine, but like apparently people have gotten pulled over for running a yellow light.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that just look both ways, go?
I was like, if I'm not gonna be able to stop, I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah. That's weird. I always see the yellow as if you're the car in front, you're it.
Yeah.
Weird.
I mean, sometimes I go through the light and I'm like, that was definitely amber, but it's fine.
I've definitely hit some where I fly by and I'm going too fast. I'm like, I'm committed
Yeah.
to catching the yellow. And then it's like red and I'm like, well,
I can't stop
now.
I can't stop.
Yeah. That's probably not the best habit. That's pretty rare though that I run the amber because I think they do have cameras on a lot of these intersections.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten a ticket for blowing past a red yet?
No. I don't do it very often because usually I'm like, okay, I'm close enough, or I'm like, okay, I need to like kind of heavily step on the brake.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't time it right.
Same.
So
I haven't gotten a ticket though. Not yet. I did get a ticket for parking in a
sorry, I just knocked on wood.
That's probably smart. I did get a ticket for parking in the wrong spot once, but no, I didn't have my tags. It's $125 fine. And I literally had them in my car. I just forgot to put them on my bumper.
There was a Abby Napton. I don't know if you know that name. She was a diver here. She's like has all the records and stuff. She was like student athlete of the year. Powerhouse. Powerhouse. Great girl. Her graduation cap was all of her parking tickets.
Oh my God.
And we were like, Abby, what are you doing? She's like, I have like 7. Like they're gonna fit on my cap.
That's true. I'll be honest though, when it came to UNL parking, a lot of my classes were online. There's only one building I needed to park at, and I parked. It's fine. I don't park there anymore. I parked illegally every day in a spot that wasn't mine, and I'm like, okay. I think I actually did get fined one time, but it was like you put the UNL parking fee. Like I'm gonna have to get fined 15 times before I match this fee. So I was like, I'll just eat the fines until it gets bad. So I ate one fine and then I was clean the rest of the year. And I was like,
nice.
Never gonna pay for it. I mean, unless I have some downtown, then I'd have to. But this was at the Anderson Hall. You know where that one's at?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just parked illegally every time, but it's fine. I got out just okay. Let's see. We're getting pretty close to break here. We'll throw it to break. This is Reagan Hins and Harrison Arns on the deep end. We will be back right after this.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. Summer is here, and that means you're having garage parties with neighbors, hitting the golf course and the pool. The drink of this summer isn't your typical seltzer. It's drinkable Delta 8. Yep, Trek CBD has drinkable Delta 8 seltzers with mango and lime flavors for 4-packs, 12-packs, coming in a variety of mango, watermelon, lime, and berry. They also have hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups to put in your beverages, and as always, the excellent Delta 8 gummies. Trek CBD at 84th and Andermatt and TrekCBD.com. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and things are cooking in Louisville. Right now, our pre-owned sales are off the charts, and we have loaded up the lots full of inventory. We've got a great supply of Sierras, Silverados, Tahoes, Yukons, and crossovers. Plus, we've got a great supply of back-to-school cars just in time for the big day. Don't forget about all of those new 2022 and 2023 units arriving every day as well. So please take that short, money-saving drive down 144th Street or shop online at CoppellCars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Women who fought for their own financial futures.
And now it's our turn.
Join us. Visit WeSaySaveIt.org and take control of your financial future by saving for retirement.
A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
You look at those big tackles they have mammoth tackles. Neither of those guys are particularly nimble. Bryce Benhart is never going to be confused with Allen Iverson.
No, I don't think that he will. That's the first time in history and forever going forward that Allen Iverson be the same sentence as Bryce Benhart.
They better be able to mash.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Mama, what does the chicken say? Dog. Cat. Giraffe.
Giraffe, really?
Giraffe. You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People Seeding Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash. Fantastic. Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Hey, you got any gum?
Yeah, check my backpack.
What's this?
Oh, that's naloxone. It can reverse an opioid overdose. I decided to always keep it on me after my friend almost died. It saved his life.
I'm so sorry. That makes me want to have it with me too.
You totally should. Check the pharmacy. It was actually really easy to get and it's easy to use.
I definitely will. Thanks.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to the deep end with Reagan and Madison on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into the deep end. I am Harrison Arns along with Reagan Hinsey. It's Hinsey. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you looked at me weird. I was like, have I been saying her last name wrong?
No, it's Hinsey.
Okay, yeah. I thought you were going to tell me it was Hins or something.
No.
But I'm here with Reagan Hinsey, and we were kind of previewing her school schedule.
Oh, man.
You got a gauntlet. ahead of you.
Yeah. If you want to call in, we have the Honda of Lincoln hotline at 402-464-5685. Or if you'd like to text in and tell me how crazy my schedule is, we have the Starter Hammond text line also at 402-464-5685. Yeah.
It's booked Monday through Friday. You got some 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. days in there.
Yeah.
You got-
Thursday's definitely my worst day of the week.
Yeah, you got about 50 minutes to eat 3 meals.
Yeah. We'll just go through my Thursday because
Yeah.
I don't want to bother with
We
the
won't
rest
go
of the
through the
week.
whole thing, but Thursday's pretty brutal.
Thursday, usually I have practice from like 2 to 5 every
Mhm.
day, but I have class at 2:30 and 3:30, and I missed it almost every single time last semester. And so I was like, hey, like, is there a way that like don't miss class? And so I was like, can I practice with club those days from like 5 to like 6:45 ish because I have a class at 7? And he was like, yeah, but like, don't you work those days? And I was like, dang it. Yeah. So I have practice from 7 to 9. And then I have class at 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, and 12:30. And then I have a 50-minute break where I'm gonna have to eat. And then I have class at 2:30 and 3:30, work from 4:30 to 6:30, and then class from 7 to 9:30.
See, that's a grind. That's why I get upset when anyone mentions the idea that student athletes get spoon fed.
Yeah.
Because that is such a crazy schedule. There's probably students that have jobs with school, but it's way easier to pick up shifts when you're not doing early morning workouts. Then you got to be on a meal plan. Then you got to do a late time workout. Then you got to go plan for meets.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a lot.
I wrote my schedule into like my planner, like in my calendar. Like I just wrote it down for like the first week, so I like knew what was happening.
Are you a big planner person?
Yesterday, for like the first week. But I like wrote it into my calendar, and like I showed you the picture, but I don't know if you noticed, I literally wrote like eat now.
I
Like,
didn't see that.
just because like I'll have like a burrito from like Oasis or something, which is like the fueling station, and I'll have like a burrito and I'll eat it like walking to class.
You got to do what you got to do.
So
are you one of those people that, I hate this excuse, but it seems to be a real thing. Are you one of those people that get hangry?
I wouldn't say often, but there are some times where I'm like, I need food like now.
Rough
Like,
around the edges
yeah.
until you eat something?
Yeah, but I'm also like, I've never been a big breakfast person.
Yeah, me neither.
Like breakfast food at like dinner time, great.
Yeah.
Breakfast food at 7 in the morning sounds absolutely horrendous to me.
I'm the
So
same
like
way.
I like have to like force feed myself in the morning, or else I won't be able to eat until 2 in the afternoon. And then I can't eat a certain amount of time before practice because then I'll hurl doing flips in midair.
Yeah.
So it's like
Or if you smack the water, that's going to
up chuck.
rock your stomach. Yeah.
So it's just like I kind of have to do what I have to do and like force feed myself in the morning.
What do you force feed yourself in the morning for
Burritos.
breakfast? Oh, that's it? Just burritos?
Dude, burritos are my favorite food, man.
I'm getting that.
Burritos, and then I'll have like a coffee, and like I'll walk into class with like it's like one of those little Gatorade cups full of cold brew, and I'll like walk into class with it because like my first class is like my diction class, so it's like French diction.
Probably
And
feel
so-
fancy. You got to have some coffee with that one.
No, I just walk in with a Gatorade cup, and they're like, "What's in there? Like Powerade?" And I'm like, "Nah, it's coffee," and I just like drink it within like the first 5 minutes because I'm like, I'm not gonna make it through this class if I don't have my coffee right now.
I'm the same way. When I first started this, it was an internship. I had to do early break, which is 6 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Oh.
And I wasn't ready for how early it was. The first week was absolutely brutal. It's like trying to get up at like 5 o'clock
Yeah.
to get ready. But then I found coffee, and by the time I left early break, I think I was drinking like half a pot of coffee.
Yeah.
I felt bad for Sip and Jake because they'd always make it, and then they get to the second hour and they'd be like, half the coffee's gone already, and I have had
Oh.
1 cup.
I'm kind of gonna call out my mom for a second. So sorry, mom. Like this isn't meant to be bad. I'm just like not a morning person. When I was home, I did CrossFit with my mom, and it's Texas heat, so like you have to do it before the sun comes up, or else you're
gonna
not
die.
working out. Like
Yeah.
that's just not gonna happen. And so we'd have CrossFit at 6 in the morning.
Oh,
And
man.
so we'd leave my mom's house at 5:30. And my mom, like, I'd be silent because I'm not even awake yet. And my mom would be like, so are you ready for these 90 burpee box jumps? And I'm like, Mom, it's not even 6 in the morning. Like, stop talking.
Stop talking about what's ahead.
Or it's just like the most random thing. She's like, my sister works at Crumble.
What's Crumble?
Crumble cookies.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so she's like, do you know when like Sydney has her shift this week? And I'm like, no, and it is 5:33. Like, I don't want to be talking right now. My mom's she usually does the workout at 5 in the morning because she is a high school math teacher / basketball coach. And at home, my high school starts at 7:15.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, so she has to do the 5 a.m. workout. So she's like, man, I'm ready to go. Like, I'm get to sleep in. It's a 6 a.m. workout. And I'm like, it's a 6 a.m. workout.
She sleeps till 5 o'clock and she's just like, it's got a lot of sleep last night.
Yeah, yeah. So
yeah, the mornings are. I used to be really good at working out during lunch breaks, and then that just kind of faded. I used to try to hit some, like, just run a mile or maybe 2 miles during my lunch breaks. And then, yeah, once you start working all the time, those workouts, shout out to your mom for getting up early to work out.
I made a deal with my mom last year, or a bet, and I was like, Mom, I bet you can't get 300 workouts this year. And she was like, what? And I
She was
like,
offended.
Well, she had like 270 the year before.
Okay.
And she was like, okay, well, we don't have workout on Sundays. So that's 52 Sundays like gone.
Mhm.
And then holidays. And I was like, I think you can get it. And she's like, Reagan, don't make a bet with me. Like, I'm competitive. I know I'm gonna have to get it. And I was like, I know, I'm the same way. Like, I am your daughter.
So did she try to challenge you for how many workouts? Well, probably not, because you got your own.
No, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Mom, I'll get 300. I have 2 a day sometimes. And she was like, fair. So it was just like a funny conversation.
Do you try to get your workouts in the morning, or do you perform later in the day?
Well, for
Like, if you had the choice, if you weren't doing like your swim or your diving workouts, where would you try to fit them in at?
Like if I had a desk job, like a 9 to 5.
You just had a 9 to 5.
I think ideally I'd try to get it before work, just because I'd feel so stagnant throughout the day if I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
But there are gonna be times where I'm gonna be like, I'm not getting up right now. Like, I slept so bad, it's just not gonna happen.
It's tough, especially like, yeah, I used to have in my head that I'll just knock it out after work. After work, you do not want to touch the weight room. You're just ready to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always a tough one for me, is trying to figure out when to work out. I've been slacking big time on it. But yeah, other than that, what else do you have going on your schedule? When's the first meet for you guys?
Let me look. Our schedule got announced, so I actually know this.
Okay. Yeah. So as
Yay.
Reagan's pulling that up, yeah, like she was saying, she was trying some new drives, trying to get that all worked in, because you're pretty much the veteran now this year, right?
Yeah.
You got
it's
the leadership.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You and then 3 other divers.
Yep.
So yeah, you'll be taking on that veteran role. Are you nervous about that, or are you pretty comfortable?
I'm pretty comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gonna be an adjustment because, like, I know a lot of teams have like people coming in every year, but we
Mhm.
haven't had any divers since me.
That's crazy.
So like, I'm the second oldest, but I've always been the youngest. So it's like it's not like weird, but it's definitely just gonna be an adjustment.
Yeah.
Our first meet is October 7th at South Dakota State.
Well, that's cool.
And then our first home meet is our double duel. So we have a meet on Friday and then we have a meet on Saturday.
Oh.
But at least, okay, both times, because we didn't have it my sophomore year. Both times we've had a double duel, they've been away.
Was sophomore COVID?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we only had like 3 meets.
Yeah.
They've been away. So it's like drive to Minnesota, compete, drive to Iowa State, compete, drive home. But this year it's October 14th, which is the Friday. We have a duel against Iowa State here. And then Saturday we have a try meet, I think that's what it's called, against Minnesota and South Dakota on that Saturday.
And that's also here?
Yeah.
So that's nice. You don't have to do the crazy travel like last year.
Yeah. So that's our first home meet, or home meets of the season.
Did you perform worse having to do that crazy travel time last season?
Iowa State was pretty good for me. Minnesota was not.
Was that the last one?
Minnesota was the first one, but we were on a bus for 6.5 hours, and then you get like an hour to warm up, and then you're like, all right, let's go. And I'm like, my body cannot get into these tuck positions. Like it's not gonna happen.
Especially being a diver. Is stretching something that you guys like really push?
Yeah.
Being a diver.
Yeah. Usually we like to stretch. We warm up first and then we stretch, because if you stretch when you're cold, like bigger risk of injury.
Yeah, because things are cold, you're gonna overstretch something.
Yeah.
Something's gonna
snap. We do like a running warm up. And then we do like rolls, so like front rolls and then front roll pike outs, and then you don't want to listen to me say all those rolls, but like we do 4 variations of a front roll and then 4 variations of a back roll, and then we do like handstand shoulder pops and then cartwheels and handstand walks, and then we're like, all right, let's stretch. And then we'd spend like 5-10 minutes stretching, and then we go to abs.
That sounds so much fun.
It's so great.
Jake Sorensen just called me out on the text line. He said, you drank a full pot, Harrison, not half.
Nice.
So, getting back to my coffee addiction. But yeah, I'd say for stretching, especially being a diver, I'd imagine some of the most flexible people are probably the best divers.
I don't know, man.
Are you flexible?
In some ways, yes. Like I can get in a pike and I can just like stay there for hours, like it's
touch your toes and everything.
Yeah, like I can, if I bend over right now, I can easily put my palms on the floor, and that's not stretching. But like I can't do the splits on most days. So
wow, I'd imagine you wouldn't have to pull the splits out.
I don't have to pull the splits out in a dive. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna say, like, just being a diver is probably one of the more peculiar athletes you got to be. There's some strengths in there that are just completely unique to any other sport.
Yeah.
Like your core has to be really strong, and your flexibility, I feel like, has to be way above normal too, even more than like the swimmers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Your flexibility is pretty big up there. I also say like shoulder strength is pretty high up there.
Why shoulders?
I'll show you a video at break, but we have an underwater camera, and because you have a certain technique when you go underwater too.
To reduce the splash?
Mm-hmm. So like you hit the water and you go hands first. And so you don't go in the water like a swimmer. You grab your hands. So it pops the water to make that ripping sound.
Oh, okay.
And as soon as your hands hit the water, you break and you swim through. So it's like this out the side. A lot of people like to cheat and go up the front, but it's out the side. And then as you're swimming through, you bring your hips under like, and you basically do another somersault underwater for a front. So there's a whole technique to
that's
going
something
underwater.
I never thought of.
It's not just like the back arch that you see like people at the wreck do or something.
So there's a whole new process once you're underwater.
Yeah.
And you need jacked shoulders.
You have to be able
rip through that water.
You have to be able to go against the water and go out the sides
as you're hitting it at 32 miles an hour.
Yeah, straight arm, like can't be bent, can't be in front. Like one arm sometimes goes like this. Like you have to just be prepared for it. And so like that's why when people are starting tower like 10 meter, you can only do so many entries at a time because you have to get acclimated to it because you are hitting the water at 32 miles an hour.
That's something I just never thought of.
Yeah,
that makes a ton of sense though. But we are getting pretty close to a break here. We'll continue this discussion on the third segment on the deep end. I am Harrison Arns with Reagan Hintz. We will be back right after this.
Hey, this is Ernest Hausman. As a linebacker from Nebraska, I know how important it is to have a strong defense and a great playbook. If you are looking for a solid team to have your back, check out my friends at Burke Brown Law. Burke and Jackson will work with you to create an individualized strategy to bolster your defense.
Hi, this is Burke. Give us a call at 402-606-1441. With locations in Lincoln and Columbus, we're ready to tackle your needs. Find us online at burkebrownlaw.com.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money, but like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you wanna come and text us,
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music,
This is Mommy's jam.
then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is "My job is people, everyone is my business." But unfortunately, in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Let's do it. Let's get away. Let's go outside, cast a line, and reel in good times with our family and friends. Get a little peace, quiet, and relaxation, and make some memories that will last a lifetime. Let's do it. Let's Fish Nebraska. Start planning your fishing trip today at letsfishnebraska.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning. Now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to the deep end with Reagan and Madison on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into the final segment of the Deep End here on Ticket Weeknights. I am Harrison Arns along with Reagan Hinsey. And we kind of talked pretty much everywhere, talking about diving, who the best divers are around the world, and some of the form that went behind it. I was completely unaware of the intense, I don't know which physical labor you had to do once you hit the water. She was showing me a video over the break, and you definitely need big shoulders because you're hitting the water at 32 miles an hour, probably around there.
Yeah.
And then once you hit the water, in order to reduce the splash, you have to fight the resistance of the water that you just hit at 32 miles an hour, essentially fling your arms to the side to reduce the ripple, and then you still have to tuck.
Yeah, you have to do what's called either a pike or a tuck save, depending on which way you're going in the water.
Yeah.
And that basically creates like a vortex, and it sucks all the water down with it.
To get rid of that splash.
Yeah, to create that rip effect.
So you just don't think about that, because she was showing me they have the camera underwater, obviously for their purposes, so they can see it. But all we see is the splash.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people didn't realize the rotation and all the effort that goes in once you hit the water.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's almost got to be like one of the hardest parts to master.
Yeah, I mean, I can probably post those on Twitter or something if you want.
Yeah, you can throw those up on Twitter, because I don't know, that's crazy. That's something I never really thought of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did want to ask you, as we're getting closer to the season, you kind of gave out some of your meets that you have up ahead. What are some of the personal goals that you have outlined for yourself outside of like a team's performance?
Well, I'd like to get back to zones, but that's like bare minimum for me because I like to set really big goals. I got to zones last year. That was my first time. I scored at Big Tens on 2 out of my 3 events. I didn't score on platform because I was absolutely terrified about one of my dives, so that's all I thought about. And then the other dives went really, really bad, and it's fine.
Mental block?
It wasn't a mental block. It was just like that's all I could think about. And it's my second to last dive, so I spend 2.5 hours stressing about it, and so all my other dives don't go very well. Like I said, diving's a mental game. But I'd like to score on all 3. I'd like to at least get to B final on 2 of the 3. I think I can do that. And then I'd like to compete some new dives, like maybe 2 or 3 on 3 meter, and
like the one you're trying to learn now.
Yeah, the one I'm trying to learn now. I'm trying to learn 3 on 3 meter right now. So it's that front 3.5 that I talked about. A full out, which is a front 2.5 somersault pike, and then halfway through the dive you come out of your pike and you do a full twist.
Okay.
And then it's called a back 2.5 twister. So it's a back 2.5 with a 1.5, or back 1.5 with 2.5 twists. So it's basically you're standing backwards, and then you jump off, you do 2.5 twists, and then you pike it down and save it. But
so trying to add 3 new dives. So I did kind of want to ask you, as freshmen come in, are they kind of just fed some of the basic dives that everyone learns, and then as you get older you start picking up more advanced ones, or do they just kind of throw what you can take right away?
Well, in juniors you have what are called voluntaries and optionals.
Okay.
And so the year before, like the age group before you go to college, you compete 5 voluntary dives and 5 optional dives. And in college you only compete optionals, so that's like all the spinnies and the twisties and the crazy ones. Voluntaries are like back dive, front dive, like the basics.
Yeah.
Just so people know that you know the basics. And in college you have to compete 6 optionals. So there are 5 categories on springboard, so you have to double up on 1 category. So the freshmen should have 5 dives.
Okay.
And so basically when you come in before season, it's basically finding what that 6th dive could be.
Okay. So, and then as you get older, you obviously kind of know what your dives are.
Yeah, and so you just try to get harder ones and rotate those out and see what works and what doesn't, and
that makes
trial
sense.
and error.
So at those meets, is it a lot of times this might be a dumb question, but is it pretty much veteran led? Is it really rare to see freshmen come in there and win it?
No, it's actually fairly common.
Really?
Yeah. Because the Big Ten especially it's so stacked. It's crazy. Like USA junior national champions are seniors in high school, and they go to IU or Purdue, and so you'll see them in the A final.
So is the Big Ten kind of like the elite diving?
Yeah, I'd say the Big Ten is the hardest. Not only because of the amount of, or not only because so many freshmen are coming in that are really good, but just how stacked it is and how many girls there are that are at that elite level.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like in the SEC, there will be like 27 girls competing, and you top 24 score.
Okay.
And the Big Ten, there are like 57 girls and top 24
So
score.
you're already doubling the pool.
Yeah. And it's the top 30, the top 35 have the opportunity to score. It's just, like I said, at the beginning, it's just anybody's game on any given day.
That makes sense though. And I kind of like what you're saying too, with the younger athletes, especially if they're smaller. A little bit of a benefit because you don't have as much weight hitting the water. But that is it for the deep end. And I do believe we'll have Madison back next week.
Yeah, she gets back tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we'll have Madison back next week on the deep end. I am Harrison Arns. I am here with Reagan Hinsey. that is it for us. We will have Talkin' Tens after with Kinsey Davis, and I believe she's bringing in a guest as well, so definitely stay tuned in for that one. We'll run that 9 to 10 o'clock, so definitely stay tuned in. That's it for us.